You're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
You ready?
Yes. Super excited to be here and super excited here to be with you. This is a very special episode because this ties in with, obviously with real estate and business. If you guys haven't already known, but Brandon and I have been together for 9 years, as well as 9 years in business as a couple.
Yep.
Now,
it wasn't just supply and demand, apparently. Apparently popular demand as well. We got her back. And what's cool is that we've seen almost like a pandemic out there, if you will. It's such a strong word, but grab your attention with this. We've seen so many people over the years, especially in the last 6-12 months, amazing friends of ours as well, that are literally struggling finding that significant other, or they may have their better half, but totally like on different planets of the earth. And while everybody has like their relationships all completely different or lack of, doesn't mean that we have it perfect by any stretch of imagination. We definitely fight. We definitely freak out. We definitely have meltdowns, all of the above, like the ups and downs of any type of relationship. There's about 9 factors. I'm sure we could have came up with a boatload more, but she likes the idea of 9 years together and 9 big factors here that we have identified over the years have really helped us stay on track together. And so a lot of people out there in relationships want their significant other to be in business with them. And while business isn't made for everybody, and doing it with your significant other and working hand in hand, side by side, isn't necessarily for everybody either. I think there's a ton of blessings in it, and there's a lot of learning curves doing it initially. So we're going to go over our 9 things of truth to us that really stood out the most. And if you guys have tried it in the past, or you want to work together but really haven't been able to, and you guys are doing separate things, or you just haven't found your other person yet, I think this could be a great episode that could really hit home for you. That's what we're praying on and hoping for. Otherwise, we've seen other people trying to go in life just in 2 different directions. And as you grow, as people change, because we all change over time, in the last 9 years we have changed about 12+ times. And as you change, you obviously want to make sure that you guys are changing together in the right direction. Otherwise, that's when people start going, separating and just 2 different people. And you don't even recognize each other eventually. And that's definitely not what you want. That's not what your significant other wants. That's not what you guys started for. And that's not what we're called for, right? So ideally, you want to be able to grow together. And so anyway, we're going to just dive into it. And again, we don't have the special secret sauce, but these 9 things we really stand strong to, and it's our truth. And yeah, hope it resonates with you guys. So.
And yeah, just a really quick context. When Brandon and I started dating, I was 21 and Brandon was 25. So you can just imagine from being early 20s, and then now I am 30 and he is 34. So a lot has happened, a lot of growth, a lot of changes. And so this is from our own experience. And so the message of this title is 9 lessons from 9 years in business together as a couple.
Let's go. All right. So what's number 1?
Number 1. Having God as our foundation. Oh my goodness. This is key for business and in personal life.
Yep.
And so I'm excited to hear what he has to say about this. For me, from having God as our foundation really helps when tough times are there, so that you're leaning on something bigger than yourself. And so you have this faith, and having God as our baseline really helps us navigate through whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, I think there's so much power in inviting God at like the center of your table and the center of your relationship so that you guys can both lean on. And at the end of the day, in business, in any relationship, in life, when working for somebody or owning your own business, it's like there's difficulties, there's ups, there's downs, there's explosions, there's like crazy things that go on. And like we're hitting obstacles right now in business, and like that takes a toll on personal and relationship, and especially when you do things together and you work together in the same house and everything. Like we're in our living room right now, like there's no separation, right, to business and so forth. And so when you are doing things together and trying to get aligned and really for not just personal growth but also business growth, I think having God as your center and your foundation can really set you up for tremendous success, and also like center you, ground you, and make sure that you understand like without his love and without his touch and you like really aligning with him, it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's going to be an uphill battle, and it will just make life so much more difficult in so many ways. So
And just to add on there, God's wisdom and God's words, and being able to lean on him and not a flesh. So that has been really key. Our favorite F word here is faith. So want to throw that in there.
That's her favorite F word. I got another one though for mine. Just kidding.
Not this podcast.
Not this one.
Not this one.
What is number 2?
Number 2. Oh my goodness. This is also really important. It's not me versus you. It's us versus the problem. It's
so this is notorious. She's brought this up a very long time ago. And did you hear it from somebody, or did you like take this on yourself? You've been using this for a long time.
Yeah, when you live your word, I practice what I preach. So yeah,
That's
spicy.
But you heard this from somebody originally. I
don't know who I heard it from. I don't remember when, but
I think we were in some mastermind or some kind of educational thing, and I think you picked this up from somebody, but you definitely, if not, you brought this up yourself, and you've been running with this for a while.
And I live it, by the way.
You definitely live it, and anytime that...
We live it.
I get forced into living it. And so anytime that there is a big issue that starts arising, it's very common for you guys to get a little spicy, a little like on the edge, and start kind of like clashing a little bit, right? And so when those times happen, it's really important to simmer down the other person by basically just stating like, it's not me versus you, it's us versus the problem. And I think you've been able to get me to calm down numerous times from that, and
vice versa.
It's definitely something that I'm very grateful for.
It is so important, because if you and your loved one is fighting against each other, feeling like it's a me versus you problem, then you're unable to work it as a team because you're in this defensive mode. And when you're in this defensive mode, it's definitely tough to be able to work with whatever issue it is together as a team. And so if there's anything that you can take away from this, that's also very important. Actually, all of them are very important, but that is really key. Really key.
It's a good one, baby. All right, number 3. You want to say sorry and talk it out without yelling or swearing.
Or do your best.
Or do your absolute best. Sometimes that's not all able to crunch into one there.
I want to, while you're gathering your thoughts on this, I do want to share that really Brandon has really worked through this of like being able to apologize, like, and not just get really frustrated. So I'm so proud of how we started dating to how we are now. And it's not just him, but it's in me too. But for him, I see so much growth in just really being calmer and going into the conversation. So men and women are so different when we tackle on issues. For example, Brandon will he needs space and
process.
And I didn't understand that at first. And so I like to be like,
I feel like women never do.
And we're not trying to generalize it. I'm saying it even for myself as women that I've noticed, and from girls that I've talked to as well, that we really agree on this where like we want to solve the issues unless you have
right then.
Oh, yes, right then and there. But guys don't do that. And maybe it's vice versa. I'm just saying for the more general, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, understanding him and understanding me, and now the way that he has worked through it and how he is now, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And it really helped me on the women's side. When he really wants to think about it, he'll tell me, not in a yelling manner, because I do not do well with yelling. Now I can take it on if there is yelling, because then I can process it. But before and really leading up to now, it's like, hey, I need to take a moment to myself and I'll come back to you in that kind of tone. That helps me to be like, okay, well, I'll separate for now. He's not gonna go anywhere. We don't need to solve it right now. It's okay. And then we go back into when the time is ready.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a big thing.
I think you got to realize too that without like dishing out anything individualized to us, at the end of the day, everybody is coming to a relationship with some kind of baggage, whether you acknowledge it and realize it or not. You're coming with some kind of baggage in the past. And so I think it is very important to realize that and work through your own trauma, your own, stuff, and overall realize that you are going to be bringing that stuff to your relationship. And so for marriage, we've had to be patient and process that with the other person too, and work through it. And you get to a season that it's almost like laughable, but it's also like it's still very serious, whatever the other person's going through. So I think, and it's not just her, it's like me too, like we all, and you will too. It's just what it is, bottom line. But I think the older that I've gotten, the more that I can actually identify when I'm being like an asshole or a dick really quick and apologize within actually a lot faster with it versus like a day later or like half a day later or like a couple of days later. I can get to the point within like 5, 10, 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever it is. I don't know, a heck of a lot faster because of just maybe maturing and getting older and realize like life is too short. I felt bad, however I treated you. It shouldn't be like that, and I made a mistake type of thing. And so I think just owning up to that sooner than later is very important. And as long as it's genuine, I think it's always going to be appreciated. And it also like cuts the tension and it stops the fight, especially if you're both stubborn a little bit. Like the best way to do it is to just like cave in and say like, you win, not you win. It's not us versus each other or like any type of winning type of approach, but it's like, I surrender, I made a mistake type of thing. And so I think I think there's benefits behind it.
And just to share, that goes both ways. Like there are times where I can be very grouchy and have attitude and just angry, and then I can explode. Again, we're not perfect. We're all human here. And he will say like, hey, that was what's going on. Like that was like too much, or whatever the word verbiage he used. And my old self too, because I'm stubborn. I didn't realize how stubborn I was. I guess I didn't know if you just stand off stuff. But now I would quickly be like, register it, but not get upset, but just from a third party kind of stepping away and go, okay, actually I could have said it more calmer, and I really did act it out. And so I will also be quickly to say sorry now too, like, hey, I'm really sorry I lashed out. I didn't mean to say it that way, and I'm sorry to upset you.
Yep.
So very important.
That was number 3. That's say sorry and talk it out without yelling or swearing. What is number 4?
Number 4, forgive and really forget.
What do you mean by that?
Very important. Everything I'm saying is important because it really helps. Like we're the testament of this, of all it working out together. And so all of these points are very passionate about. And this specific one is really forget. Now there's a saying out there to say, forgive, but never forget. I don't like that at all. Trash. And let me explain to you why. Because if you truly forgive somebody, especially, not just your loved one. If you truly forgive someone, you want to forget it because you don't want to bring that up. So this kind of ties back with the other one. If you guys are fighting and you've already forgiven this old thing that happened 2 years ago, you do not bring it back up when you guys are fighting again, because it doesn't help at all. And number two, afterwards, for the most part, you're going to feel bad. And then again, it bleeds to your personal life and then your business life.
Forgive and really forget. The thing that I took from this is there's a story from somebody that we know and kind of a mentor of ours to a certain degree. And without airing their name or their business out there, they were together in a relationship for like 40 years, right? And so they told us a story that one of the individuals cheated on the other, and it broke the other person's heart like completely, and it was devastating. And when the other person came back and apologized genuinely, and they decided like, hey, we're going to work through this. We're not going to give up on each other. We're going to work through this. It was devastating, but they both agreed, hey, we are going to figure out whatever that was and like try to work together to make this happen. What they decided there was a declaration to let go of the past and however that took place and forgive the person completely, wholeheartedly, and then have a fresh new start. And so what they did was they never, ever brought it up again. And they lived happily ever after, like for another 30 plus years being married without ever bringing up the situation or the circumstance. And so I think that's the key point there of like totally forgive genuinely, but then afterwards, totally forget it. And when like we say really forget here, it's in that context of like, if you don't forget and like the negative energy, anytime the other person pisses you off, anytime that you guys get into an argument or a fight or like that negative stuff is you're gonna hang on to because you're still hurt from it and you're still going through the pain of it. And so it's hard to forget, it's hard to fully forgive, but you got to do both in order to not hang on to the anchor of the past drowning the relationship, because it does take two. And while the one person 100% made the mistake in the beginning and totally jacked it up, like no excuses, but when they both sat down and when that person, asked for forgiveness and genuinely like cried it out and said like, hey, I messed up, then when they both agreed and that person accepted the apology and said like, hey, we'll never bring this up again and we are done, we're moving forward together. I thought it was, and it's hard, like I could never imagine like actually being that strong, but when you get challenged in life, because nothing's easy, business is never easy, personal life is never easy, relationships are not easy, we're human beings, we make mistakes, we have sinful nature, right? At the end of the day, that was such a powerful story for me.
Yes, and now I know who he's talking about. Yes, it's a very powerful.
Took a while to catch up, but it's such a powerful story for us that we gravitated towards. We were like, wow, if you can hang on to that. And I've lived on the other side of that, of like still trying to make an old relationship work when I didn't have trust for the person, or like I tried forgiving in the moment, but then later on I'm like bringing up all the nasty stuff from the past. It's like, it's just a chaotic relationship at that point, and it's never going to be good. And so I think that's very, very important. And that's where you forgive and really forget.
And the grace, a reminder, the grace that you have, that God has given to you, that same grace is being practiced too. So it works both ways. It's not just a one way. So how you want to be forgiven is how you will want to forgive.
Yeah.
Remember that.
That's good. All right. Number 5. So this one's a really funny one. It's one that we actually learned from Jesse Itzler and his wife, Sarah Blakely. We heard them talk about this in the past, and we wanted to implement it and adapt it. And it's basically whenever we get enraged and like we want to like kill each other basically, and we're just so we're so in the moment, right?
Or also in the moment of like just stress. So on top of that, Also, when we're really stressed out about whatever it is that is weighing us down, besides prayer, because prayer, and then also two will be this.
When you get so mad though that you can't even pray, you're just like, I'm not even praying right now, you know, and it happens every once in a while, you know, sinful nature. Don't forget it. Don't judge me. At the end of the day, on both sides, this happens. And what's funny is in relationships, it's usually the opposites. Like one day when she's extremely enraged, I'm totally cool as a cucumber, and vice versa. And it's the funniest thing, but it's also like,
That is so good.
it's so good.
So good.
Because it balances each other out. But this is what we do. It's a tip that we took from Jesse Itzler, and you want to share it?
Yes. I thought you were getting so excited. We're pumping you guys up. Is dance break as needed. And this could be various dances. I'm talking about one, we slow dance.
Awesome.
Yeah. Whatever you feel like doing, we slow dance together. And
it's basically slow dance. We basically just wrap our hands around each other. We slow and steady, just, you know, just dance it off. And then within a few minutes of dancing, you get to a point when you're just hugging it out and dancing that you just start laughing and you're like, you know, but it's good. It like breaks the tension. You get over it. You have the hug it out moments. And then we always basically lean into like, remember, it's not you versus me, it's us versus the problem.
Yeah, we normally actually that's pretty right. Normally when we dance, that's a follow-up line to that.
Yep.
I do like to throw in, and if it's not something that we're upset about each other, if we have like, you know, we feel personally that day that it's like just a lot of heaviness and we just need to break out, literally, we will break out dancing. And I'm talking about like, no, I'm not going to do it right here, but maybe I can. Watch you break now. I'm just kidding.
We get crazy.
We do. So you can switch it up. You can switch it up.
All right. Number 6.
Understanding
your roles and unique abilities.
Yes.
So when we first started in a relationship, so we were working at a Thai restaurant, right? And humble beginnings.
Yeah, we were working 2 jobs each.
Yeah, I was working at an Italian restaurant at night and a Thai restaurant during the day.
And I think at one point I hit 3 jobs, but I was working at the Thai restaurant, also working at a bar, like a bartender, and then also was working at Domino's.
Yep. And
your driver.
And so once we actually started doing, about 6 months into our relationship, we started buying real estate because I was studying it for 2 years prior, 4 hours a day while I was working these 2 restaurant jobs. Like I was desperately trying to get into real estate, just didn't know how. And I was confused. I was like, didn't know what areas. I was looking in all different states. Finally found Ohio as the state that I was going to pull the trigger on. I dragged her to the hood in Ohio. And luckily she was sleeping as we drove in, because otherwise she probably would have been like, you know, but she was very cool, calm and collected when she woke up. And
I was raised up in the hood for
the San Diego
hood.
A little different. Sunshine and rainbows out here.
To him.
But anyways. But so at the end of the day, it was very like we moved quick on things. When we actually started developing more into like leaving the jobs, going full-time into real estate, but also full-time into this credit thing, right? Like what we were doing was credit techniques and manufacturer spending, and like we were getting a lot of funding and putting it to work. And then everybody was very curious and interested when we were going to networking events. So a lot of people were saying like, oh, I want to do that. I want to jump into real estate, but I have to get money over here first before I need to make it successful over here first before I can jump into real estate, before I have the money to, right? And we were looking at each other like, we didn't have any money, dude. We use credit. We use business credit, 0% interest, like that's what we did. And so at the end of the day, we realized that so many people didn't know that they could utilize credit. So we wanted to start teaching it, start impacting people and helping people with it. And as we were doing that, we were building up, a course, building up a community. And this was back in like 2016, 17. And during that time, I remember we were trying to figure out like who's doing what. And I remember her wanting to go back to work a little bit for the simple fact that she wanted to have like her own thing, right? And didn't know if like she could fully trust like this thing or like having me lead. And so there's just a bunch to that in the past that we were trying to find out like our identities of what the hell we were doing, and also making sure that we knew our strengths and talents at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So kind of just to go over really quick briefly about this, it's not like I didn't trust of what we had. We were having a lot of success. And for me, it wasn't trusting on him and trusting the business, because that worked. What I didn't understand or didn't see yet was the value that I offered to the company, even though I was already building it on the back end stuff, but Brandon was the face of everything. And they fed this lie on the internet, really, about being a girl boss, about being your own boss, babe. And for me, I didn't feel like what we had was, I didn't feel like that boss babe title, or because I felt like, because he was the face of everything. And even though, so I just want to make that very clear. I trusted him. I trusted the vision. I didn't trust myself and what I brought to the table, even though everything that we built of like growing it, whether it's through our podcast, whether it's through like the mastermind, and then like the community and the program, building out the program. So Brandon was the face and did all the talk, me building out the program. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is I got lost in that, trying to figure out my identity. And now I understand and realize my true value, my unique ability that I bring to the table. Yep. And it was really hard for me to do that because of all this noise that I was getting through. And I didn't realize my identity through it.
It was very big back then, and still today as well, but people getting pushed that agenda of being like the girl boss. And so you had some ventures that you were trying to do. I did the same thing, trying to start some businesses, and some of them you would make a little bit of money. Other times, like, it was a complete nightmare, and so we had a lot of learning curves. But at the end of the day, when mine started succeeding, if you will, you helped do everything operational, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was really just the face, and I knew the knowledge, right? But you wanted to kind of have your own thing to a certain degree. And so you were trying to go back to work just to get some capital from that and like have your own thing, right? And so I think over the years, even just a couple months into that, I basically had a conversation with you.
That didn't last long. That literally lasts like maybe like 2-3 months at the most.
I pulled you back in, saying like, hey, the financially, like, that dead end job doesn't make sense, trading time for money. And instead, like, you really crush it with this stuff, and I'm lost without you on this stuff, and vice versa. So we make a great team. We should really like partner up and like do this together. And so once we actually started realizing our strengths in different departments, it was super helpful. Like, she did the creative stuff, she did all the tech related stuff, documents, editing, organizing, podcast. Like, I just jumped on social media and I talked about the education, and I did the sales activity stuff and collected money sometimes if she gave me the right links to collect it with, so that was how we kind of started, right? And so understanding your unique ability, I feel like a lot of people out there mess up with this because they don't know. And there are relationships that we see that when one person is like not doing what they're supposed to, or like they're screwing up with their role within their business or their home, the other person, like the wife, typically the guy messes up, the wife typically will like try to step in and like save the day. And if it's out of their element, it could be just more of a storm, right? However, we've also seen the opposite of this when, good friends of ours, they were just totally in different roles. And when they did swap, it was like everything clicked. It was just like night and day difference, and everything just worked perfectly within a matter of seconds type of thing. And so it looked like an overnight success to their business, basically. And so that's super powerful when you just know your God-given abilities, and then you make sure that you are staying within your lane and then supporting the other person.
I do want to share on this. So what you can take out of it also is, with realizing your God-given talent or ability, your unique ability. But then also once we figured that out, to add onto that story is that we shared the same vision of what we had our future to be. Now you can have all of your unique abilities in place and your purpose in this world, but if you two are not sharing the same vision, it will be really hard to run with it.
Yep.
So I will correlate that together. And last thing about this bullet point is that, so Brandon is the man of the household. Now, if we cannot decide on something and we're going back and forth with, my ideas, his ideas, or whatever it is the scenario might be, and if we cannot come up with anything, we're going to go with Brandon's option as defaults. And that doesn't, and I want to share that. It's because his gift, he's really good at problem solving. I can problem solve it in a different matter. However, in our household, again, if we cannot figure out one thing to decide on, we're going with his. And if we're going to go with his, that doesn't mean, I just want to make it clear, that doesn't mean he doesn't let me talk. He lets me talk. I can state my opinion. And there are times too, plenty of times, that when we're discussing about something to do, he follows whatever I say in that scenario. Yep. So it just has to align with, again, does it align with the vision? And at the end of the day, if you made this as a guideline, it makes it easier on the household. And at the end of the day, the man is the household. He's the driving force.
I love that because we've seen a lot of relationships mess up with this. And so at the end of the day, it comes down to full communication and transparency. But there has to be one leader in the house, right? So by all means, she trusts in me to not just make the decisions, but also have the right discernment in any type of circumstances.
That's a good word.
And so therefore, by all means, like, she's always going to speak her mind and her opinion, like, rightfully so.
I will.
And I will definitely do the same.
He does.
Rightfully so. And then at the end of the day, if it's completely off and we actually go into like a little battle or like a little match, it comes down to, I trust you to really like sell it to me why we should do it your way. And vice versa. If I disagree, then I'm going to sell it to you why no, I think this is the right way for whatever the circumstance is. And so most things aren't that big or that big of a deal, right? But if there are some big, financials or moves or, whatever the situation is, like danger or something, it's like, we need to talk about it. We need to get on the same page and we need to have a plan moving forward. And sometimes it's quickly. And so at the end of the day, we both are going to hear each other out.
That's good.
And if I disagree at the end, then I'm going to just say, unfortunately, like, I know you believe differently, but this is what I decided we're going to do. And it could be my way. It could be her way. It could be right in the middle. It could be whatever I think is the best. And she has full faith and gives me the authority to kind of lead our house like that. And at the end of the day, she'll just be praying into the situation otherwise. Always and otherwise, And so what's really important behind this for people to realize, and the reason why we're saying this is for a reason, but afterwards, whatever I choose, whatever I pick, if it's wrong, she's not beating me up for it. She's not going and saying, I told you so, you son of a gun. Like, why the heck you do that? I told you we should have did this. Like, she's never, ever, she will back me up and support me just as if she made that decision. Always, every single time. And we actually see a lot of relationships that aren't like that. And it causes a lot of chaos. And it makes I think it's important for ladies to know out there, like, guys naturally beat the shit out of themselves anyway. Like, totally mentally beat the hell out of themselves with all the pressure and so forth. So when they make their own mistakes, and we do often, I made several mistakes this year, a ton recently that I'm starting to realize. It's like when you make catastrophic, horrible decisions. It's like we already do a very good job beating ourselves up. You do not want your backbone or like your support to be hanging on or like chiseling at it. Instead, she does the exact opposite, and she's in my corner to support me, love me, encouraging me, telling me we're gonna get through it, like, you know, giving me the love and support that I need to give me the motivation and encouragement to get back out there and overcome it. And like while I'm beating the hell out of myself, she will empower me, letting me know like that's not who you are. Whatever you're telling yourself, this is who you are, and I know this is what you can overcome. And so this is just a season. We're gonna overcome it, type of thing like that. And so it's really important. What do they say for like the boxing?
Yes, the cutter.
Cutter.
Yes. And so, I love this analogy, and I'm so glad you brought this up because, okay, so for the cutter, like, you know, in a boxing match, right? And after the boxing match, like the guy is like beaten up, he's scratched up. And so they go into their little corner and that they get all patched up. So as the wife, the supporter, you are the cutter. You're the one that's wrapping up his cuts and putting ice buckets or whatever it is that they do in that corner. And whatever it is, you are pumping him up so that he can win that fight. He can win that battle again. Look, guys, and trust me, I have seen this through my own experience, through just me navigating through life of guys really do, like he said, and he's a guy himself, beat himself up, but guys don't say it out. They have internal battles within themselves, so they may not say it and you think that they're fine, but internally they're going through this battle. So it's very important, like the cutter, you are protecting him at all costs because there's going to be already noise from anywhere. And during this moment, the enemy can sneak in just like that, real quick. And so like he said, I really like his analogy where the backbone, if he doesn't have like his backbone with him, the enemy's going to get in and it's going to penetrate and it's not going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
This is more really on everybody. This is a win-win for everybody of the whole not that I told you so, because what does that do?
Yeah.
Do you want, going back, do you want like in the situation where you messed up and someone told you, I told you so, how are you going to feel? You're going to feel like trash. And no one wants to feel like trash.
It just doesn't solve anything.
It doesn't solve anything.
You can't go back in time. You can't make any changes. So therefore, why do the shoulda, coulda, woulda? Why beat yourself up? And I'm curious if that is the name of it, a cutter. But
maybe I'm butchering it.
It probably is. It probably is. Anyway,
cut.
Yeah. But when it's the person that comes over and patches you up
and pumps you up for the second round, okay? Yeah. They're not saying things like, "Oh, I told you so." Yeah. Like you shouldn't have done it, bro. Whatever the guys say, they're not saying that.
You look like a loser out there. What the hell are you doing?
That battle is gonna be horrible. Oh, and then actually they did this like test or experiment where you hold out your hands and the person that's pressing down on you like this, and the first round they're gonna say like, oh, you're strong, you can do it, and all these positive affirmations, and they're really strong. And then the second round they go, oh, you're really weak, you suck, you don't look good today, and all the negative things. And then when that person is pushing down, it goes all the way down. So what I'm trying to say is words,
energy.
It's energy, and words are so powerful.
Yep.
So very important. That's actually leading to number 7. He got really excited about that because it really aligns with what we said prior. Is at number 7, no playing the blame game or saying I told you so.
Yeah.
Oh, and last thing for this point I want to leave, or actually 2 points really quick. 1, it's when a door closes, another door opens. Mm-hmm. You just stick onto that. And number 2, it's not lying to yourself if you are supporting your significant other, because guess what? When there are like, I want to say catastrophic or really big things are happening and that's really stressful that didn't plan out the way. Trust me when I say this, yes, inside I could feel one way, like, oh my gosh, holy crap. But you can still have fear, but still act on faith. Okay, that fear is not like it's gone, so you're not lying. So I just want to make it clear, like you're not lying to yourself. Yes, there may be some sort of fear, but that faith is like you still take on head on. And you've got Jesus on your side, so Jesus on your team, it's a winner. Okay, number 8.
Yep. expressing and remembering gratitude.
I want to say, Brandon, it's so good at reminding me of this because I'm really hard on myself. And I'll say it out too, internally and externally. I'm very tough. And so in those moments, Brandon is really good at reminding me about gratitude and just being grateful. And now he has done it so many times that it has helped me to be even just mindful for myself. In my head, I'm hearing my thoughts of like, okay, well, and then I'll say it out loud. You know what? We were not where we are now. Okay. We came a long way.
What's cool is starting to realize how you are in the moments, and it is, and opposites typically attract. So you want to kind of be on the lookout for that with your significant other. But me personally, I'm more pessimistic in the moment, but more optimistic in the future. And I'm a visionary person within our business. So like it is kind of typical to be like very optimistic and like problem solving in the present, optimistic, thinking we're going to hit billions of dollars in the future type of thing. But she is more optimistic in the present, but then dwelling or thinking about more of the past or beating herself up for the past, you know, the shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff. And so it's important to acknowledge like where you currently are and how to just have more gratitude and more just self-awareness and forgiveness, like let things go a little bit while you're growing and pushing through certain seasons. But it's so amazing how we are like together and we are completely opposites, but it like we totally complement each other completely, like amazingly. So very grateful for that. But I think just knowing like how far we've come to where we are at today, and it's like just the beginning, it always feels like, because there's so much more. We know we're going to hit, like we're not settling at this. And even if we did, like this would be amazing, but we have so many more other levels that it's just going to take, like we're kids. I just feel like we're like so young and we have so much growth, and we've already grown like so much, like ridiculous amount. And so it's awesome to have the gratitude and acknowledgement of like, wow, like how blessed are we? And it's just the beginning. Like it's such a fun ride. And the impact we made and all these other things, it's like the purpose that we found, it couldn't be more incredible. So I think just speaking that out loud, because it is, words are so powerful, and acknowledgement behind that, and even just the psychology behind it, like the deep down, you need to express it verbally, say the words of affirmation, but also remind yourself how much gratitude that you have for where you are today.
And I do want to add, our mentor told us, it reminded us that the problems that you have right now are a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that kind of mindset, it's like that right there, like it's a privilege to have these, and someone would trade for you. And you know what? There are really tough days. And in those days, if you have to just be gratitude of having a roof over your head and food on the table, clothes that you wear, just the bare essentials, like there are people out there who don't even have the bare essentials. And then you start thinking that you're so small and not so big, like it's a like me problem. And so that's really important.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about the millionaire that is crying in their $2 million home or in their Lamborghini, right? That's just, nobody is going to care for that. And so at the end of the day, realizing that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and it is because of you exactly where you're at, the good and the bad. And so taking both with a grain of salt of like, oh yeah, like I did that. I made that mistake. I got into that bad relationship. I clicked that button and got into a scam or whatever it is. Like I invested in myself and ended up getting this ROI and like changed my life. Like there's a ripple effect, but every decision that you've made to get to where you are at today led you here, and the good and the bad, it's because of you. And so it's hard to hear that sometimes, but it's also so true. And so once you acknowledge that, the good and the bad, give yourself a little bit of a like leeway and don't dwell on the bad so much, but realize that you got to go through some of the bad stuff to experience how good the good stuff is. And
Oh, good.
And I think it's really important to like have that and acknowledge that it can get better, like no matter how good it is. But same thing with, it could definitely get worse with how bad it is. So the people that dwell on that negative mindset of like, oh, like really bad day, oh, it was horrible this week, like, well, how bad was it? Like, tell me about it. And then it's like just dwelling on it. It's like, well, it could definitely be worse, right? Like, you know, it could, right? Like, are you counting the blessings, the gratitude in the moment? I think it's just extremely important. And we've definitely experienced that ourselves. So very grateful overall. All right, let's dive into the last one. Number 9.
Number 9.
Which is investing in ourselves. So we actually, right when we started dating, it was December 15th, 2015. Pop quiz checked. I walked myself into it. And so right after that, I think we even went to like a Christmas party basically, but very close, like within a week or so of that, we got invited to a mastermind event, and we didn't even know, it was just like a network thing. But shortly after that, like January 1st type of thing, we were investing money, financial money and time into a mastermind ourselves. And it was just so ironic because it was the first mastermind we were ever in, the first like community type of thing. We were financially investing and we were dedicated to the process, but we were also like in a new relationship. And so a lot of new things.
We move fast. It's very fast.
We moved in together pretty quick.
In 3 months.
Yeah, around that same time or a couple months later. But it was just mind-blowing to see us getting into a brand new relationship and then joining a mastermind at the same time. And it was a stretch. It was a commitment. It was a lot of learning curves, but growth. And we got addicted to the mastermind aspect behind it because we found community, we found family, you know, coming from like a dysfunctional family to having a united, strong family, it felt like, and then getting educated and like something so much more and bigger and ways to the entrepreneur spirit, like just starting to stir up in us. And all that stuff to say, like how powerful it was, we kept doing it each and every year into other mastermind groups and investing into, you know, at first that one was like a couple $100,
which was a lot for us.
I think it was like $400 a month, $400 to $500 a month. And I was making like $1,700, $1,900 a month.
And we still got rent.
We still got rent. We still got a car payment, still got insurance, still got
food.
Yeah, we still got life, like I dogs and everything, like still had bills to pay.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's like that's a lot. Right. And it was so good for us, though. And so we started taking this information, investing in ourselves, and it turned into like the next one was like 5,000 or 10,000.
You got more.
And then a 15,000, or a 25,000, a 30,000, a 50,000, an 80,000, 150,000. You know, like we've been investing into masterminds and groups and coaching and paying for the elevator versus the stairs or the escalator. Like we're not doing those things. We want to pay for the mentorship and get the expertise of somebody that's already been there and done it and can tell us right away what the hell our problems are within business or life or whatever we're paying for. And we've realized over time investing in ourselves that nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody's Jesus here walking around like all dialed in, but they may have 1 or 2 areas that we respect and appreciate and can honor, right? And something that we lack in, that we want to get the education and the mentorship. And so we invest in ourselves for those pieces of their life to be able to take the escalator approach. And it's not overnight. We're not gonna catch it right away, but success isn't always taught. In some cases it's caught. And I think when you get around high level groups and people that are investing the same amount of dollars to be in the same room with you, there's like the camaraderie, and it's just high level network individuals that want something bigger and better, and they're not going to settle for less.
Really good touching points. One of the things that a lot of people like wonder about us, and because we don't really realize it because we're always moving fast, but the thing is it cuts you time, and time is something that we all know and can agree on. We cannot buy back time. And so people are wondering, like, I mean, again, for almost like 9 years of this, of like starting at 21 and 25, being able to quit our jobs, and then, you know, now being 30 and 34, like how we're able to expedite like our growth and really make a transformation between our business and our personal self is because of investing in ourselves. And that's something that we will always do until we meet Jesus up in heaven. That's really it. That's right. And I also want to mention in here that going back to one of the points is, it's ladies, listen up, listen to me. All the wifeys out there, you're going to want to support your man if he's investing in himself, because let me tell you, not only did it help our business, but in our intimate relationship, Brandon, I don't want to call him out like that because I have also grown as well a lot with personal development, but it has helped him so much. And who he is now today has been a ripple effect of that. And I can say the same about myself. And so your future self will thank you. You'll thank me later to hear this. And why I share you this, because like we mentioned before, the man is running the household. He's trying to figure out how can he get to, you know, your goals, because he wants to make you happy and hitting your goals, and how to expedite that and how to figure out strategy. And when you're figuring out strategy, you're going to go through things to try to figure out that strategy. And with that being said, you're going to support him to do that. And then what we mentioned before, if that did not work out, that investment doesn't work out, okay, well, there's another investment happening. You know, there's more opportunities out there. Beating up for it isn't going to help anybody, but encouraging him to do that, I'm telling you, as a wife to wife, it has helped us so much so that I no regrets on whatever that we invested in, whether it took us to another level, like we have grown something through there, and we can take something out of it from every single thing that we've ever invested in. So
yeah, I think it comes down to, like you're saying, you know, when one door closes, another one opens. We've been screwed over years and years ago on $160,000 real estate investment from a bad partnership that was just a scam artist. And so horrible situation. But at the time in that season, it was like terrifying. Like when we didn't have that money, and it was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And realistically, we prayed on it. Everything worked out exactly how it was supposed to. And in fact, like it prepared us mentally to be able to not to step away from the lower ticket stuff and get to the higher ticket stuff where it's $1 million plus type of problem. And so there's levels to everything. But I think it is really important. And one, we'll give you a bonus here. When we first started in relationship and we were like getting that grind on, that hustler of like, we left our jobs, we were working together. As a man, sometimes you want to, you know, work. And you're saying to yourself, you're making all these sacrifices, and you're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your better half, your kids, your future, whatever. It's actually more damaging that way. And because the woman's not going to look at it that way, you know, the love languages are very important to be aware of and know, like, you know, words of affirmation or like quality time, or, you know, just like not neglecting the other person because you're work. And then you get, like, as a guy, it's very typical. All the guys listening to this, like, you can relate. Like, trust me, I already know it. Like, you'll be able to relate, saying like, oh no, I get it. I'm working my ass off over here. She doesn't see how hard I'm working. And then I come home and she complains at me or whatever. It's like, make sure you set your lifestyle up. It doesn't need to be a 9 to 5, quote unquote. But once I started actually prioritizing, hey, after, because it's hard to separate when your home is your business as well. It's hard to have that separation. So especially when you're beginning as an entrepreneur and you're building everything, there's so much, you could be work, and like busy for a very long time in that hustler mindset. To become that CEO, you want to have that separation. And so coming up with some sort of 9 to 5 so that you have some off hours, and you clearly explain that to your loved ones, then you can have the work time, and then you can have your personal lifetime, and you spend quality time and fill their love tank so they don't feel like, you're just ghosting them or you're getting addicted or in love with the business versus them. You don't want to fall out of love or cause chaos. And that was something that I started realizing, like I was causing chaos within our relationship at that time. And there's another thing that, like, when you don't have, you mentioned about time, it's one thing that we can't buy back and get more of, right? When you're starting out, you may have no cash, but a bunch of time. When you start actually working your butt off and you start catching some traction and you start making some money, then you're busy. You start making money, but you have no time. Like the thing is flipped, right? Eventually, once you keep on investing in yourself, and you'll learn how to start buying back your time, quote unquote. I say that for the circumstances of elevating and delegating. You start systemizing your businesses, and you're still working your butt off, but instead you start systemizing it so that you can elevate and delegate and hire on other people. With all this money that you're collecting, you hire out a lot of people to start getting some of your time back. They can start doing all these other odd jobs, and now you get to a point where you're happy because you're making impact and purpose, but you're also having some cash here, and you start getting some of your time back working not as many hours. That is the ideal lifestyle. That's like the financial freedom, if you will, because now you're living life on your terms. You can go wherever you want with whoever you want, whenever you want. Like that is power, and you're still living within your purpose and making the impact. And so I think it is important, but we wouldn't be able to do that, and you wouldn't be able to do that, truthfully, if you don't invest in yourself. So we do encourage you, like from the bottom of our hearts, don't slip on this. Don't sleep on this either. Like take action. You're going to want to take action on investing in yourself. Action results come to action takers, bottom line. And so the faster that you can move and be in decision mode versus like, just putting money on a pedestal or
being on the sidelines.
Yeah, like you don't want to be on the sidelines. You don't want to be in, I don't know, just like scrambled mindset around this. Like if you want something, how bad do you want it? If you found somebody, is it the right solution? If so, what the hell are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for? Like money comes and goes. Money comes and goes. It's you got to test it. You got to try it. And I rather jump into it sooner or later so I can test it, try it. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll move on to something else. But I need to at least test it and try it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm determined. If I'm putting a financial obligation to it and time behind it, I am definitely pulling some kind of ROI. Mm-hmm. So if you walk into it with that mindset and that determination, you're going to succeed one way or another. And you may not see it instantly right then and there, but 6-12 months down the road, trust me when I tell you, like we've seen relationships form, best friends form, like business deals, relationships, and just growth within our mindset, connections to another connection that like turned out to something, and we're doing business together. And so I just encourage you, like, invest in yourself, because there's always an ROI if you have the proper mindset. And if you don't right now, invest in yourself so that you can get challenged to get the proper mindset.
Also very good. And
so down the road, you'll see that like there's some kind of limitation over your life right now when it comes down to finances. I guarantee it, that we all grow up with some kind of level of some kind of like ceiling over our life around finances, because many homes aren't talking about finances. They're not talking about financial literacy. They're not talking about how to budget your books or manage a proper credit card or invest in things. Like they don't do that. And most families aren't talking about that at the dinner table. And so if your family was anything like ours, you're in the same boat. And that's okay, but you have some kind of limitation around money. And so whether you think $5 is a ton of money or $10 or $100, $50,000, $100,000, $2 million, whatever yours is, that's on you. But it's time to realize, like, if you're basing all of your decision and your goals around the money, then you're putting money on a pedestal and it's controlling you like a puppet, And instead, you got to get to a point and a mindset and in your heart to actually pull it down and like put the money underneath you so that you can control it. And you're putting it to work.
So good.
And so I think it's just so important. And it's getting into the exercise and the routine of investing in ourselves regularly, ongoing throughout the year, each and every year, multiple times and multiple six figures each and every year, has allowed us to not put the money on a pedestal and put it underneath us and do it for the greater good of our mindsets, our financial future, our education, our future friends, our future business partners, like tax advantages, all these things that we want for a better lifestyle, because we don't want to settle for less. And so I just want to leave you with, like, investing in yourself first and foremost is going to be incredible. I don't want to discount any of these 9 factors, though. They're all very important.
Oh, very good. It's really tough on this one.
They're all very important. We do want to give you a little treat, though, also because of our 9-year anniversary. And so for any of you that have been on the fence or that have checked out creditcounselelite.com, we are teaching you how to be able to get up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0%, plus sign-up bonuses, plus fixing credit, plus boosting up your score, get to the 800 club. If you haven't been there, it's amazing. You get the best of the best rates. We have bank relationship managers on standby to meet you where you're at, to be able to help you with your applications, to be able to get a heck of a lot better approval odds with incredible high limits and the best terms and conditions. That's our goal for you. We want to teach you how to do this, so every 6 months you can actually repeat it. And this is per person. So if you got a loved one, friend, family, significant other, business partner, like, this is for you. And so if you're in your 9-to-5 right now looking to get out and start a business, this is for you. If you have a business right now and you're looking to grow and scale it, this is for you. If you are a real estate investor, if you are an e-com, if you do construction, if you're in restaurants, if you have something that you would like to stop missing out on the opportunity and be able to leverage good credit and the difference between bad debt and good debt, we'll show you a good debt so that you can get a strong ROI, then this is for you. And I don't want you. I just don't want you to miss out on this incredible opportunity. So check out creditcounselelite.com. That's creditcounselelite.com. We have a quick 5-10 minute video on there that explains more about what the heck we do here at Credit Counsel Elite, what it could do for you, and be able to set you up for tremendous success for you and your family. And we are giving a little bit of a discount. We are giving a 9-year discount. I'm gonna leave it up to our assessment coaches. Like, book a call with our team and they will be able to explain this to you, but just ask for the 9-year discount. There's going to be an incredible opportunity for you. It's going to be our biggest discount that we've ever done, giving you a lot of money off. Just ask for the 9-year discount. I highly encourage you to check that out. And it will be until Christmas. So you got a week and a half to be able to capitalize on this. So it's a no-brainer. You get the tax benefits before the end of this year as well. If you're anything like us and you need some tax benefits, or you need some of, tax connections, bookkeeping, tax filing, infinite banking structure, like, we are teaching you inside of Credit Counsel Elite how to be able to do exactly the same. So I encourage you, do not sleep on this. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Take advantage and just book a call with our team today. You'll be able to get more information on it, and we'll give you 10 banks that you can get up to $50,000 on each one of those banks on your own, whether you decide to work with us or not, as a free gift for just taking up some of your time. But trust me when I tell you, I'm paying for this for the free complimentary call. It's a no-brainer, 30 to 45-minute conversation to be able to ideally help you and be able to pass the word on what we do here at Credit Counsel Elite. So if that resonates with you, do not sleep on it. Take action today. Just click that link. And then, yeah, we'll see you guys on the inside. And then, of course, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. What are you waiting for? Do that right now. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll get the news notification every single Monday after listening to a few episodes. Leave that 5-star review. Greatly appreciate all the love, all the support. Keep it coming. You guys are amazing. And anything else you want to say?
I appreciate you guys having me on for another round. And then also, really, guys, with Credit Counsel Elite, from our own experience and what we can share with you, it has helped us truly to be able to quit our W-2, be able to scale our business, and be able to travel. I know we reap the benefits. As a wife, I definitely reap the benefits with the travel.
We've been able to see the world. We've been able to help our families with buying homes.
Yeah.
Like my sister, we've been able to do incredible things, start new businesses, grow and scale businesses, invest in our members. We've been able to do amazing things with credit, and real estate deals, numerous, picking our neighbors, just wild things. And it's all because of the power of credit. Yeah. And so very grateful for it.
And so it would be very selfish of us to know that this thing that really helped us with our personal and our business, and we're not sharing it with you.
Yep.
That is very irresponsible. And I like to think, again, don't want to be selfish. This is for you. It would be very selfish of us to keep it just to ourselves and to the members that we already have. So please do yourself a favor and just check it out. It does not hurt. And really grateful for you staying all the way to this end. Hopefully you bug Brandon for having me back. I'm just kidding.
By popular demand.
But anyways.
Or supply and demand. This is what it is. All right. Love you guys from our family to yours. Happy holidays. And we made it 9 years, babe. We did it. Come on.
We're here to win.
Win no matter what. All right. Love you guys.
We love you.
Catch you later. God bless.
Have a good night.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining.